The Eisenhower matrix is a productivity tool. It aims to fix a couple problems. And the Eisenhower matrix is a productivity tool. Now, this is something very, very entry level, but for most people, it ends up being endgame too. And the Eisenhower matrix, although it can be good at first, it is not endgame. All the Eisenhower matrix actually does is teaches you how to think. Now, if you haven't come across the Eisenhower matrix, I guess start using it. But it's very, very simple. How it works is there's 2 columns, 2 criteria any task in the entire universe could have. It can either be important or it can be urgent. And these both have like a 0, 1. In programming, we have something called binary digits, and binary digits is just on or off. So it can be important on or off, or it can be urgent on and off. And so this will form a 2 by 2. We have something that's important and urgent, which would be something that you need to do right now. We have important and not urgent, which is something that you would schedule for later. And then we have not important, not urgent, which is something which you're supposed to delete, basically. You throw it in the rubbish. And then, last but not least, is something that's urgent but not important, which is something which would be considered as something you delegate. So if you have a team, you pass it on to your team. Thing is, this seems like a very archaic thing, right? Maybe in the past, when we didn't have the specific tools we have now, this would be good. But let's consider this for a second. Let's take something which is urgent, important, and let's call it, I have an invoice someone needs to pay and they haven't paid it. It's been a couple days, and so I obviously need to follow up on them because that is urgent and that is important. Now, that would be due right now. But I can delegate that, right? I could delegate that to someone even though it's important. And the thing about the current day is when we have this delegation isn't what it used to be. It's not you have an assistant, you have a team. I could delegate that to AI. I could create an automation where if an invoice is overdue, it does a whole sequence where it sends me a message, it sends them an email, it starts some sort of timer for additional follow-ups. Maybe it even sends an email to some legal company I work with to start getting, the things rolling over there, just in case it does get to that scale. So we give them like a pre-up. Maybe it does another thing where it makes a notice in, let's say I was hiring someone to close sales for me, I was giving them commissions. Maybe it makes a notice there to deduct that percentage temporarily from what they get paid that month until it's confirmed that there's not going to be a problem. Like, there are so many things involved here, and sure, in the past maybe I want to handle that myself, but why would that not be a delegation task? The Eisenhower matrix is good. I will not deny it. It is good when you're starting out, you have a lot of tasks to do and you don't know what to do. But the only real thing the Eisenhower matrix helps you in the modern day do is it helps you work out if you need to do a task right now or if you need to schedule it for later. Because why would we even do a task that gets deleted? And do you know how quickly you can learn to spot a task which isn't important? Or when I say important, I mean like a task you'd throw away. It's ridiculously easy. Like, imagine I'm checking my emails every 5 minutes. It gets to the point where I'm like, hang on, I don't even have any useful emails here. I'm just not going to do it. It is literally something which programs instantly into your brain. And look, I don't even think people need to use the Eisenhower matrix to build the foundation. I think all they need to do is when they look at a task, instead of thinking, is it important, is it urgent? Come on, if a task is urgent, why would you not do it? That's just, look, if a task is urgent and you're not doing it, there's some limiting beliefs going on. There's potentially a scheduling issue. There might be a productivity issue, but you don't have to throw it into a matrix to work that out. Like, you can look at a task and be like, oh, that's pretty urgent. That's got a time crunch, which is tomorrow. Like, when you get an exam at school, you don't look at your homework and you're like, yeah, I think this one is important, and I also think it's urgent because it's due tomorrow. You just go, what lesson do I have tomorrow? Oh, maths. Oh, I have some maths homework, and then you do the maths homework. this Eisenhower matrix isn't needed. No one's segmenting their schoolwork. And in a business, you're actually caring a lot more about what you're doing. Something which is urgent isn't just gonna get lost unless you're not trying. And this is the thing about the Eisenhower matrix. It really makes no sense when you start to think about it, because you can delegate important and urgent things. Can you not? Like, what makes an important task something that can't be delegated if it's urgent? And in fact, all of those squares can be something AI handles, even the ones which you should delete. Now, I'm not saying you need to run automations which check your emails just in case something there is actually valuable, but you could do that. Anything within any of these squares can be automated. In fact, I've started automating a lot of those squares myself, and other people ask me for help on automating their stuff because it is that easy. And so I don't really think the Eisenhower matrix is something you need to worry about, or something which is even worth your time. I think all you need to do is look at your tasks and just be honest with yourself. Does this task need to be done? And then, prioritize based on when something's due. When you have got everything that needs to be done by like the next week done, you're going to have free time. And when you have that free time, you can be like, what else do I want to do? And every time you say, what else do I want to do? Ask yourself if that task is repeatable. Even if it's only repeatable once, just find a way to automate it. I know it sounds overkill, but the more you automate, the better you get at automating. And leveraging this stuff can literally take a team of 20 down to a team of 1. So you want to start getting good at that now. I'm giving away the secret sauce, so I'm not going to give away the programs I use to automate. But the Eisenhower matrix, man, it just sucks.